Aloha, beautiful beings. Thank you so much for connecting with me today. My higher self wanted to jump on and connect in and talk about stopping resisting your mission, how to get into your mission and stop resisting your mission. And I wanted to start off by talking a little bit about me and how that journey unfolded for me. It has been a long process. It wasn't something that I just jumped into. Some people they do it like that. For me, I had to take baby steps. I had kids at the time, and it wasn't something that I felt like safe doing. And you're not and when I say that, it's like sometimes like people are like, yeah, let me just take this big giant leap, and they're ready for it, right? And mine was like baby steps. Okay, let me take this step here, let me take this other step. And then I just kept getting steps. And so that's how my path unfolded for me. I actually started off working in the corporate world, and I thought at the time, when I hadn't even gone through my spiritual awakening, that that the corporate world was going to be something that was for me. And it makes sense. Like, we have a lot of programming, and we go to school, they teach you how to be employees and how to work for other people, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's something that you want to do. But if you want to create something of your own, I want to let you know that you truly can, and that the universe will, or source, God, however you connect to the one that is within you, that is within all, will support you in doing whatever it is that you want to create, and what you want to have, what you truly deserve to have, and what your heaven on earth is. So for me, I started in the corporate world, and I personally feel like I was always a really great employee. And that was until things would start to get bad. So I can give you an example. I worked for companies for many years, and I would be really good at my job, making lots of sales, doing lots of things, and I would start applying for higher positions in a company. And I would never get these positions. I would never get these positions, and it would always make me feel worthless. So, like, first of all, that's the first thing. It's like I'm looking outside of myself for like my worthiness, number one. But I would never get these positions, even though I was a star employee. So that would really get me down. And I didn't know at the time that this was happening for me. So one of the other things that I really want to say is, whatever's happening in your experience, if you can really tap in and tune into the perception that it's all working out for you, you will see the miracles right before your eyes. You can even ask source, how is this working out for my highest good? So you can cut through all the BS and get straight to it, right? So doing those jobs, applying for positions, eventually towards the end of my corporate career, I started to get really depressed about what was happening, and how I was never getting these positions that I applied for, how I was never moving up in the corporate ladder. I was staying where I was. Like, I'm getting raises, but I'm not where I felt like I should be or where I want to be. And deep down, I always felt like I was meant for something bigger, and that I was meant to be doing bigger things. And I didn't know what that looked like. I just knew, hey, well, I really like this job, and I want to move up in the company. And so I did that. Well, I started to go through my spiritual awakening and started to get interested in other things. And so the corporate world just wasn't doing it for me anymore. And I had to still work, because I had to still support my kids. I still needed money to support the lifestyle that we were living. And so I still had to go to work. But I was doing things that I was interested on the side, not for money, but just learning about these different tools. I give you an example, like tarot cards, things like that. I was learning how to channel and how to use tarot cards. And eventually I started to channel light language. And when light language came in, it was such a cool thing, but it was such a thing that I really kept to myself and actually pretty private because it was so weird. Like at that time, there wasn't a ton of people that was like publicly just channeling light language that I could find, that I could see. And so it was something that was very weird. I was like, why do I have to be the person to channel light language? And this is where the resistance comes in, because in my mind, I'm like, well, I knew that I wanted to be a channel. I knew I wanted to be a clear channel and channel. And I wanted it to look a certain way. I wanted it to look like what I had seen some other channels do. Well, they get to channel this way, and I was like, I know I can channel that way too. But my higher self has been guiding me to channel light language. But I'm like, no, I don't want to share this. I don't want to go public with this because I felt embarrassed and actually ashamed with a gift that God gave me. That it's so weird. And that's like looking for approval of other people versus like just being authentic and being myself. And it doesn't matter, because those who the blessing, whatever you're gonna do, you're gonna bless those people who the blessing is for. So if you have a gift that you're meant to share, know that whoever is waiting, there are people waiting for that gift to receive that gift. So you're not doing it really for yourself, you're doing it for other people, although you receive a blessing and giving the blessing as well, because you're going to step more into your power, more into your authenticity, more into your truth. And it's just like eventually you're going to get to the point where you just don't care. Because again, it's not about you. It's not about you. Source wants to work through you. And so us allowing Source to work through us in whatever way Source wants to work through is really what we need to surrender to. And it can be so beautiful. It can be so beautiful. And I'm not saying there may be things that you're like, oh, I really want to do this, and you haven't mastered it yet. But there are other things that you're really good at that you are being called to share. I invite you to begin sharing those things. The more that you share it, the better you're going to get at it. And you have to start somewhere. And so it's not always one big giant leap. Maybe it's very many steps like me. Like I was in that corporate world, and I took little steps. I went to kind of working with somebody, but working by myself at the same time, like doing private contract work, where I was able to step a little bit more fully into my mission work and explore those gifts and talents and share them more in those ways. And then moving from that to fully transitioning into just doing purpose work, doing things that bring me joy, that also support me financially. And that's what I want to say, is that whatever it is, what gifts and abilities that you have, and here's the thing, especially if you're a manifesting generator, you're not here to do what everybody else is doing. There may be people, and there will be people that come along your path that give you, kind of show you the way a little bit, or mirror what you are meant to be doing, but nobody is going to do it the way that you're going to do it. You are unique. You came here with unique abilities and talents they're gonna manifest. They're gonna manifest differently from what other people are doing. So like I said, I channel. I'm a clear channel, but I don't channel in the same way that everybody else channels. Things come through me very differently. And even like you hear so many different light languages that people channel through, and it sounds differently. You could hear somebody maybe speaking Pleiadian light language, right? And in one person's Pleiadian light language still sounds differently than somebody else's. And that's what I mean. So everyone is very unique. And so tap into your own uniqueness, your own gifts and abilities, and there may be something that you're really, really, really good at that you are afraid to share. And with you being afraid to share, it's okay to be scared. That's also what I want to say, is that it's okay to have fear. It's okay to be scared. And that's how courage comes in, right? Like, you can't be courageous if there's no fear. How are you courageous if there's no fear in something that you're doing? But being courageous means you do it anyways. You do it anyways. Even with having that fear, you step through it. And by doing that, it gets easier to be able to be vulnerable and share these beautiful gifts and abilities that you have, or what talents, whatever it is that you are being called to share. So stop resisting your mission, because you know what it is. You know what it is. It's written all over you. It's in your DNA. And if you don't know what it is, just know that everything in your life, everything that you're experiencing is guiding you towards that. Like, you're not gonna miss it. It's gonna keep on calling you over and over again until you pick up, because it's yours and it can never be taken away. And so, I mean, you're resisting the inevitable if you're not stepping into it. It took me actually a long time to really share in the way that I'm sharing now. I finally was like, got to have to take it. Listen, I had to have a lot of stuff taken away for me to listen to what the universe was telling me and showing me. It was like, okay, well, I'm going to help you get real quiet and real silent, and you're going to sit in this energy. And you know what? It was perfect. Even though it sucked ass going through that experience. But at the end of it, I could look back and say it was such a blessing, and it was everything that I needed. So if you know that you're meant to be sharing something, and you know that's something that you're meant to be sharing, I encourage you and invite you to just share that. Because if you don't, then you know what? Things may happen that get real weird in your life that basically where God's like, let me just push you. And that's not going to feel that great, but you will still come out on the other side better. So, whatever works for you. Sometimes some of us like to learn the hard way, and it is what it is. But anyways, I love you guys so much, and I hope that you can take pearls from the message that I shared today. If anybody has any questions, feel free to write in the comments. I'm happy to expand on anything that you feel like you need clarity on that I didn't quite hit on. I don't use scripts. I just speak very organically. And so I hope that you were able to follow along with me. And I'm sending you all so much love and light and so many blessings. Thank you.